loob na isinagawa at walang pumilit sa kanila.
Dahil ang nakasabi dito ay puro katotohanan at kapag nagsinungaling ka ito ay pwede kayong makasukan.
Ang aming policy ay talagang kailangan may handwritten sila, ganun lagi sa aming opisina. Saka namin ipapatype sa lawyer. Tapos pero i-interviewin mo nang mabuti. Kung mula sa puso mo at talagang totoo yung
At
sinasabi
ginawa
mo.
ho yan din na Atty. Bagay.
Pa, ginawa po niya.
Sila rin ay binisita ng mga kinatawan mula sa Commission on Human Rights o CHR upang alamin ang kanilang kalagayan at tiyakin ang kanilang kaligtasan. Ito ang naging dahilan upang sila ay kupkupin ng gobyerno. Determinado ang NTF-ELCAC sa kanilang misyon na tiyakin ang kaligtasan ng mga batang ito. Gayunpaman, nakapanghihinayang na patuloy silang ginagamit na pain para pabagsakin ang demokrasya ng ating bansa. Suriin ang bawat impormasyon na makikita at maririnig lalo na sa social media upang hindi na malinlang ang ating mga kabataan.
Magandang hapon Pilipinas. Tayo po ngayon ay nanonood ng Tag Reloaded, Debunking Lies by Telling the Truth. Ako po ay si Angel Abellan ng NTF-ELCAC Media Bureau. Tayo po ngayon ay napapanood sa NTF-ELCAC Facebook page. Ngayon naman po para sa ating preliminaries at introduction po ng ating mga panauhin, allow me po to introduce our host. Siya po yung host natin ng previous press conference at kilala po natin siya bilang isa sa mga pagsalita para sa NTF-ELCAC, pati na rin sa media affairs nung nakaraan na ngayon po ay siya ang ating NTF-ELCAC Media Bureau Head, pati na rin po ng Integrated Communications Operations Center. The man of the hour po, walang iba kundi si Mr. Joel C. Egco. Sir, magandang hapon po.
Magandang hapon and thank you, Angel. Correct ko lang, the man of the hour ay sila yung ating mga panauhin ngayon.
Oo nga po, I apologize. Of course, ating mga resource persons. Go ahead, sir.
Alright, again, magandang hapon po sa inyo lahat and welcome to another special episode of Tag Reloaded, Debunking Lies by Telling the Truth. Borrowing the lines of Defense Secretary Gilberto Teodoro, hindi tanga ang Armed Forces of the Philippines. They're not stupid. At mas lalong hindi po tanga ang NTF-ELCAC. There was nothing wrong in trusting. Wala lalong masama na tumugon sa hiling ng mga magulang ng mga di umano'y nawawalang mga kabataan na sila ay tulungan sa paghahanap sa mga ito. At dahil dito, napatunayan nating ligtas at payapa yung dalawa. Kontra sa katinuan at tamang pag-iisip at common sense na ilabas mo sa madla ang sinumang iyong taong dinukot. Sa madaling salita, the NTF-ELCAC acted on good faith and had put premium on the strength of the affidavits signed by the two voluntarily supposed activists that they decided to leave the underground movement on their own volition. Nasaan ang pananakot o sinasabing duress kung ang kanilang mga sinumpaang salaysay ay kanilang nilagdaan sa presensya mismo ng kanilang mga magulang, abogado ng Public Attorney's Office at mga opisyal ng Commission on Human Rights. Ngayong hapon po, ibubunyag natin kung sino ang sinungaling, sino ang traidor, at sino ang mapanlinglang sa kabanatang ito. Our resource persons will disclose all damning evidence on hand to prove that the two, Junila Castro and Jed Tamano, are members of the underground movement, with Castro being a self-confessed combatant of the New People's Army. And because of that, they decided to bolt their organization and surrendered to authorities. Mapapanood po natin lahat yan mamaya. It's their word against their own sworn affidavits and other pieces of evidence that will prove that they are not as innocent as they claim to be. Kung inaakala nila at kanilang mga kasama na sigurado po akong nanonood ngayon sa atin, pati yung dalawa, na nakaisa sila, nagkakamali po kayo. sapagkat mas lalo lamang din yung pinakita ang inyong tunay na karakter at kulay na mahirap kayong pagtiwalaan sapagkat ang mga kadre at iba pang kasapi ng underground movement ay nabubuhay sa mundo ng kasinungalingan. Bakit sila bumaligtad? Sinadya kaya ito? O baka naman nagbabangong puri yung dalawa sa kanilang mga dating kasama matapos silang magbigay ng mga malalalim na impormasyon laban sa kanilang kilusan. Kami po sa NTFL kakay nangangamba para sa kaligtasan nila sapagkat sa pangyayaring ito, maaari rin po silang pagsuspetsahan ng kanilang mga kasama na naging asset na sila ng pamahalaan. Maraming spekulasyon, maraming katanungan na kailangan sagutin. Pero ang pinakamahalaga po sa ngayon, napakita natin at napatunayan na ligtas si Jed at si Jonila. Today, we are joined in by no less than the Executive Director of the NTF-ELCAC, Undersecretary Ernesto Torres Jr., who will share to all of us, to everyone, to everybody, all documentary and video evidence pertaining to the two's own admission of being underground operators of the Communist Party of the Philippines, People's Army National Democratic Front, and that they voluntarily surrendered and wanted to be rescued. And after Undersecretary Torres, we will hear from Attorney James Clifford Santos, the spokesperson on of the Legal Cooperation Cluster of the National Task Force to End Local Communist Armed Conflict. Ito po ay papakita sa atin or ipapaalam sa atin ni Attorney Santos on how to proceed legally from here on. Napanood po natin sa audio-video presentation na bago po magsimula ang press con, sinabihan sila ng PAW lawyer na kung sila ay magsisinungaling, sila po ay maaaring makasuhan ng perjury. At naunawaan po ng dalawang kabataan yon. After their presentations, we will open the floor for the open forum to answer questions that will put the pieces of the puzzle together. May we remind our colleagues in the media that you will be entitled to a question and a follow-up during the Q&A. Once again, what happened in Plaridel, Bulacan earlier this week, kung saan ako po mismo ay naroon at nasaksihan, nakausap yung dalawa, and they were very, very jolly. And if I were to be asked, bibigyan ko ng Best Actor Awards itong mga ito, pang FAMAS. That incident was only a minor setback that has huge legal implications. Kung ano ang katotohanan sa likod ng mga nakabibinging kasinungalingan ng mga taong nagngangarap sirain ating bansa, ay malalaman po natin ngayong hapon. And to start the ball rolling, let's call on Undersecretary June Torres for his opening remarks and presentation. Boss June Torres, you have the floor, sir.
Maraming salamat, Yusek Joel. At magandang hapon po sa ating lahat na nandirito ngayon sa ating press conference, particularly kay Attorney James, kay Attorney Cliff, no? Nakasama natin ngayon na magbibigay liwanag dito sa usapin tungkol dun sa dalawang kabataan nga na nasa press con noong Tuesday, no? Na nagbaliktad ng kanilang mga statement. So I'd like to start, Joel, by saying that yung press conference na ginawa noong September 19, Tuesday, sa Plaridel, Bulacan, is imbued with a tremendous amount of good faith. Particularly good faith coming from the different agencies of the government who made their commitment to help out these two young ladies to be given an opportunity to be mainstream to our society, no? Because admittedly in their affidavits, no, they were members of the CTGs or communist terrorist group in different capacities, but we were betrayed, unfortunately, through a web of deceptions. Their parents were betrayed. People who expressed their willingness to help were betrayed also. Even our legal system apparently is being betrayed at the moment. And more importantly, yung betrayal of truth. At yan po ang ating ilalahad as we proceed in our presentation later on. Yung mga pinakita kanina, hihimay-himayin po natin so that we can further discuss, no, yung mga contents nung pinakita during the opening. But at this point, kagaya nga ng sinabi ko, just even before the press conference, ang NTF-ELCAC, to include its partner departments, agencies, no, including the security sector, we were very much willing to provide security, comfort, and the needed support for these two young ladies. I'm referring to Junila Castro and Jed Tamano. No? Just for the information of everybody, as our mandate, no, National Task Force NTF-ELCAC, our mandate is to harmonize the efforts of the different departments, agencies of the government and its stakeholders, no, to come up with a program, with activities para makatulong po sa ating mga kababayan, ano, to address the root causes of insurgency, ika nga, for peace and development. Kaya true to our mandate, nung may dalawang lumutang na sumuko po sa ating gobyerno, we right away sought the assistance of different agencies to include the DSWD, nandoon po ang CHR, ang PAO natin, nandoon, ang security sector natin, referring to the PNP and the Armed Forces of the Philippines, and of course, yung local chief executive doon sa area. First, kung saan po sila nag-surrender, yung mayor ng Angat, Bulacan, and then later on, dun nga po sa conference, kung taga saan yung dalawang kabataan na to, yung mayor ng Plaridel, Bulacan. So everybody was very happy because we thought we have saved 2 more souls in falling into the trap of the CPP, NPA, NDF. But as we have observed, as it developed during the past days, parang nagkaroon po talaga ng deception, mukhang pre-planned yung nangyari, and we are now ready to share to the public all of these things that we have experienced with this organization, which was represented by these two young ladies. I would like the public to know also that right after they surrendered, we communicated with their parents. And immediately, yung parents po ni Jed Tamano, her stepdad, si Mr. Manalastas, and the wife, Glenda, came over right away. Kaya yung pong pinapakita kanina sa video, talagang na-miss nila yung isa't isa dahil apparently months na hindi umuwi sa kanilang bahay si Miss Jed Tamano. Unfortunately, yung pong magulang naman ni Junila Castro ay hindi po nagpakita despite the several calls coming from the yung pong guardian ng ating yung dalawang bata, no. They committed to be there as I was told, pero they failed to show up, no, for reasons that I still do not know. Nagkita na lang po sila after na ng press conference, and that was almost immediately after press conference. So we would probably like to know where they were in between. And then the mayor of Plaridel, Bulacan, because prior to the press conference, I was in Davao region kasi, no, attending to the first anniversary celebration of the insurgency-free declaration of Davao Oriental at that time. So I called them, my staff, my directors were there also, and everybody was jubilant. Even the two young ladies, no, they were already talking about how to go forward. And they were talking about possible scholarship, how can they be helped, and a host of other things. So nagtatawanan na po sila, no? Masasaya yung atmosphere. Kaya po, yun nga, we were quite hoodwinked. We were blindsided. Hindi po natin talaga inaasahan na mangyayari yung mga ganito. At yan ay masasaksihan yung mamaya as we show to you the video recording of the different events that transpired during those days, no, for the past 3 days. So we thank the mayor of Plaridel for extending a helping hand, for hosting the press conference like last September 19, and for offering that commitment to help out yung mga nangangailangan natin ng mga kababayan lalong-lalo na po ang mga kabataan. So the primary purpose of that press conference is only one, to show the public that these two kids, two young ladies, are safe and well taken care of by their guardians, particularly yung 70th Infantry Battalion. That was the pure intention. But things turned out differently because, as I've said, we were quite deceived, and surprised, appalled, by the change of heart, the sudden change of heart of the two young ladies. So with that, I guess we are now ready to proceed with the presentation, Mr. Moderator.
Thank you, Either June. Yes, when you're ready. Ayan. Okay, let's go.
Yes, please allow me to take you through these several slides and video clips related to the alleged abduction of two activists in Bataan, referring to Miss Junila Castro and Miss Jed Tamano. So the first slide that you will see, next slide please, is this one. Here you could see the mother of Jed, the one in blue, and her stepfather, the one in dark blue, yung nakatayo, they were reunited. That was, I believe, on the 12th of September. While on the other side, ito pong si Junila Castro, kagaya po na nabanggit ko kanina, despite several calls to her parents, ay hindi po nagkaroon ng pagkakataon na salubungin yung pagbabalik po ng kanilang anak. So yan po ang kanilang when they were reunited with Jed's parents. Okay, yan po yung maikling video clip diyan. The next slide will be a video also. Ito yung nagpapakita ng admission of Junila as a member of one NPA command, particularly yung Lino Blast Command. And in that she figured in an encounter back in 2021. Panoorin po natin. So I'm not so sure kung yung video mukhang ay audio mukhang o mahina lang ang signal sa kinaroroonan ko ngayon.
We will adjust, sir.
So
Paki-play ng maayos.
okay, what this slide is telling us is that there is an admission coming from Miss Junila Castro as a member of Lino Blast Command, and that she was relating that story that kasama siya doon po sa encuentro sa hindi ko po na kung Bataan or Bulacan, but that was in 2021. So later on, we will show to you the handwritten affidavits also of the two. Again, validating that that statement of Miss Junila Castro. Can we go to the next? The next video after this one. Here we can see that they were not forced to make sworn statement. After this one. Well,
Yusek
pasensya na,
June,
medyo
boss.
yung signal yata natin na may diferensya. So on the screen, you could see that the oath is being administered by the PAO lawyer, si Attorney Bagay po ng Region 3. And very important, in the presence po ng mga magulang ni Jed, ni Miss Jed ni Miss Jed Tamano, nasa likod po, no? So what is being shown here is that they were the affidavit was validated and voluntarily admitted, yung mga statement doon by the two ladies in front of the PAO lawyer and the parents of Miss Jed Tamano. Okay, next slide. Dito po makikita natin yung representative from the Commission on Human Rights, Region 3. Kinausap din po sila, no? Sila lang doon to check on the safety and well-being of Jed and Julina. So ito po yung pinapakita natin dito sa slide na to. Alright, next is yung pong mga handwritten affidavits nung dalawang bata, and I would like to give emphasis on certain very important contents. Of first, yung pong written affidavit ni Jed Tamano. Meron pong dalawang pero yung isa transcribe lang, computer printed, but the contents are the same. But this one, as I was told by our lawyer friends, mas may diin, no? Mas truthful yung mismong handwritten na affidavit po ng isang nag-execute ng kanyang affidavit. So shown on the slide is the handwritten affidavit of Miss Jed Tamano. Among the things that she claimed here is full-time na organisador noong huling linggo ng Mayo taong 2023 at miyembro ng Kabataang Makabayan. She also alleged that buwan ng Hulyo ay nagkaroon ako ng kasama na si Jaja. Yung pong alias Jaja turned out to be Miss Junila Castro. So meaning nung Hulyo lang po sila nagkakilala ni Junila Castro. At nabanggit din sa affidavit na yan ay napagpasyahan naming kausapin ang isang masa na kontak ni Jaja sa Pampanga upang sabihin ang aming planong umalis sa kinabibilangang organisasyon at kalaunan ang pagsurrender sa otoridad. At ang mga binigay niyang rason dito ay panganib sa aming seguridad, personal na rason, at binanggit din dito ni Jed na sumusuko ako sa mga otoridad dahil sa banta ng kapahamakan ng ibang grupo na galit sa amin, paghihirap at stress, pangungulila ko sa aking pamilya sa 3 buwan kong pagkilos upang makapagbagong buhay, makapasok ng trabaho at pagsama sa aking pamilya. Tinitiyak ko na hindi na ako sasama sa mga grupo sa hanay ng CPP, NPA, NDF. Ito po yung kanilang kay Jed, And then kay kay Julina, salient points sa kanyang sinumpang salaysay ay binanggit niya na, and I quote, "Hindi totoo ang mga balita na may dumukot sa amin, kundi tumakas kami sa mga dati naming mga kasamahan." Sinabi niya na may 4 na taon na akong nasa kilusan. Organisador sa kabataan, naging hukbo, meaning nag-NPA po siya, at huli ay naging organisador ng mga mangingisda. Umikot ang buhay ko sa hirap at pangamba. Hirap dahil sa gutom, pagod, lungkot, sa pagkawalay sa pamilya at sa trabaho. Pangamba dahil sa araw-araw na pagtatago. Higit pa nga unti-unting lumilitaw sa akin na wala namang patutunguhan ang lahat ng paghihirap na dinanas at dinadanas ko kung magpapatuloy pa ako sa kilusan na pagtanto kong ayoko ng ganitong buhay. Binanggit din ni Julina na balak na kaming trabahuhin ng grupong RHB, isa sa kalabang grupo ng NPA. RHB, kung hindi ako nagkakamali, ito yung revolusyonaryong hukbong bayan, na hindi tugma sa paniniwala ng mga NPA. And lastly, she claimed also na ibinabahagi ko kay Rian. Yun po yung koda ni Jed, Rian. Ibinabahagi ko kay Rian ang balak kung tumakas at dahilan nito, ipinaliwanag ko sa kanya na huwag na niyang hayaang masayang ang buhay niya katulad na nangyari sa akin, hanggang sa nahikayat ko siya na sumama sa pagtakas ko. Muli, pinabubulaanan ko ang mga balitang may dumukot sa amin, etc. So it was signed by themselves, and then it was also signed by the I believe Reynante Bautista is the mayor of Angat, in Bulacan. So those are the affidavits and those are the things that we have at the moment na nagpapakita po that yung claim nila na under duress yung kanilang pag-execute ng affidavit at yung mga circumstances na nangyari even before the conference, all the commitments na matutulungan yung dalawa were all there, So with that, I end my presentation, and may we now transition to the showing of video clips also of the interview of Jed's stepfather, Mr. Manalastas, and a video clip of the interview of Attorney Acosta of PAO. So that's it, Mr. Moderator. Thank you for the opportunity. I'll be ready. I will be ready later on for the during the open forum. Thank you.
Okay, sir. Thank you very much. That's, ladies and gentlemen, that was Undersecretary June Torres, the Executive Director of NTF-ELCAC. So before we call on our next resource speaker, as mentioned by Yusek Torres, we're going to play the videos containing the interviews, TV or radio interviews on PAO Chief Attorney Persida Acosta, and of course the stepfather of Jed Tamano, si Enrique Manalastas po. And also I'd like to ask muna the Secretariat, the tech team, to play independently yung interview kay Jonila. Can we do that, please?
Sir, pumunta na po kami dun sa Marsden na may kapitala sa halinang authorities. Hindi para po magpatulong ng patulong sa mga
Talagang may plan na kayo talaga na mag-surrender.
Dagdag pa rin kasi nabalitaan namin na wala na kami trabaho ng RHB sa lugar.
Nakikita sa iyo ulit.
Inoblas ko man.
Nakailang taon ka doon?
Halos 2 years po, pero kasi may legal.
Si ganun din. Sumampa ka rin. Estudyante ka rin. Natatapos mo ka. Ay, siya yung estudyante bago ka sumampa.
Okay, and now we play the interviews. Meron pa pala. Sorry. Sige, play that one.
Danila at ano isa? Jet Tamayo. Nabasa niyo po yung mga salaysay niyo. Nakasan ko yun. At pinanumpa niyo sa akin na ito ay kusang loob niyo sinasabi at walang namilit sa inyo. Kayo po ano. At ito ay puro katotohanan na nalaman ko ito. Sabi po, dahil nakasabi dito ay puro katotohanan at kapag nagsinungaling kayo ito ay pwede kayong makasuhan. So dahil nanumpa kayo sa akin, sige po, i-firma na lang po yung mga salaysay.
Ayan po, habang pinipirmahan yan, if I may take note lang, Yusek June, andon yung parents ni Jed Tamano, yung pong nasa likod ay ang nanay at ang kanyang stepdad.
At kung maidagdag ko lang, Mr. Moderator,
Go ahead,
nakausap
sir.
natin yung yung magulang ni Jed at nabanggit niya sa akin na yung handwritten affidavit at saka tong computer printed affidavit, ilang beses niyang tinanong yung mga bata kung meron silang gustong baguhin doon, kung talagang galing sa kanilang puso yung mga nakasulat doon, and they said yes. Yan yung binanggit sa atin ng stepdad ni Jed Tamano.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Tech team, now Yusek June will proceed with the showing of the interviews.
Sa pagpirma po nila ng statement nila sa PAW, nandun din po kami. Ilang beses namin silang tinanong kung meron kayong gustong baguhin. Wala silang sinasabi. Ang sabi nila, okay daw, tama raw yung statement. Sabi ko rin sa anak ko, gusto mo kumuha tayo ng sarili natin abogado? Sabi niya, hindi na kailangan, okay na yung PAW. Nakailang beses pa po kaming nagtanong kay Jed. Sabi namin, anak, kailangan ba nating baguhin yung statement nyo? Kailangan ba nating kumuha ng sarili nating abogado, hindi na PAW? Ang sabi nila, hindi. Tama naman po yung statement na yan na sinabi namin.
So, sa puntong yan, may sulat kamay sila Paano tatakutin ng PAW? Dinabutan lang sila. Ay, nagiging style bulok na ng ibang mga nagdapit-dapit na pagka gustong mag-recant, tuturo si PAW. Kabayan, kawawa naman yung mga PAW natin.
So, pero nung dumating ho ang ating PAW lawyers, meron ng affidavit.
Merong written na sila. Written, sulat kamay nila.
Oo nga ho. Pero hindi ho kaharap ang abogado natin nung ginagawa yung written statement na yan.
Hindi. Hindi
Yun.
kaharap. Kaya nga nung dumating siya, yun nga daw, kailangan requirement. Talagang may requirement. Tiniyak niya na yung laman nitong sinulat kamay ay nasa puso nila. So, in-interview siya, ipinaulit niya yung mga sinasabi nila. Ano ba yung laman? Ano ba yung sinabi dyan? Kinukwento ng mga bata. Kaya nga, ang pakiramdam namin itong mga batang ito ay may kinakatakutan na baka may gumanti sa kanila. Kaya ganyan nag-recant.
All right. Thank you very much, Tech team, for those videos. And now, ladies and gentlemen, malinaw naman po, ano? So, at least
Siguro
nakita na
panggiting
po
ko lang
natin.
din, Mr. Moderator.
Yes, go ahead, sir. Go ahead. Yusek June.
Tinanong kanina ni Kabayan Noli kung yung handwritten affidavit ay nai-prepare na pagdating ng PAW. Sabi niya oo daw, no, pero inisa-isa naman na tanungin yung contents dun sa mga bata. But aside from that, may witness pa po na pumirma doon. Nakita naman natin Reynante Bautista. Siya po yung mayor ng Angat, Bulacan, if I'm not mistaken, siya po yung mayor doon at siya yung nag-attest din doon sa mga bata. Initially, doon sa handwritten affidavit ng mga bata. And then eventually, vinalidate nung PAW lawyer in the region. So yun lang, dagdag information on the matter. Thank you, moderator.
Okay, thank you, Yusek June Torres. And now, ladies and gentlemen, at this point, I'd like to call on Attorney James Clifford Santos, the spokesperson of the NTF-ELCAC's Legal Cooperation Cluster. And of course, NTF-ELCAC's as spokesperson on legal matters. So, Attorney James Clifford Santos, the floor is yours, sir.
Thank you, Yusek, and thank you, Yusek Jun Torres, for the very comprehensive presentation. Good afternoon to our media friends and, of course, to the honorable officials of the NTF-ELCAC. Now, as an opening statement, no, I want to point out that yung nangyari po, it espouses three things. First, the demolition tactics of the CPP, NPA, NDF against the government, particularly the AFP, the NTF-ELCAC, and all of its partner agencies. We can see that this is a grand scheme to hoodwink the government, who is only concerned with the welfare of our returning rebels. And second, it undermines the efforts of Task Force Balikloob and the integrity of our ECLIP program, or the Enhanced Comprehensive Local Integration Program. And finally, the ultimate goal of this is to impair the trust of the public's trust, no, to the government. Now, I want to discuss yung the immediate remedy that we can resort to given this injustice caused by Jonila and Jed Tamano. Well, we can file a criminal case for perjury. And I want to explain this further. As ruled by the Supreme Court, there are 4 elements of the crime of perjury, and one by one, we will dissect this kung paano po magfo-fall dito sa case nila Jonila and Jed. The first element of perjury is the accused made a statement under oath or executed an affidavit upon a material matter. Well, this is a very obvious element because the two ladies here, they executed a sinumpaang salaysay before a PAO officer, a PAO lawyer who is authorized under the law to receive and administer oaths. And yung sa sinumpaang salaysay nila mismo, they have a statement here, and I quote, "Matapos makapanumpa ng naaayon sa batas ay malaya at kusang loob na nagsasalaysay." And the second element, the statement or affidavit was made before a competent officer authorized to receive and administer oaths. PAO lawyers are empowered under RA 9406 to administer and receive oaths in the performance of the regular course of duty. And the third element, the gravamen of the crime, this is important. The statement or affidavit, or in the statement or affidavit, the accused made a willful and deliberate assertion of a falsehood. Yusek Torres earlier quoted some of the salient points of their handwritten affidavit. This time, let me quote the pertinent paragraphs, no, where they expressly told and they expressly stated under oath that they were quote-unquote, no, hinatid at sumuko sa mga otoridad. Let me quote first the statements made by Jed Tamano. In paragraph number 9 of her sinumpaang salaysay, she said, "Nakusang loob kaming sumuko sa mga otoridad dahil sa mga bantang kapahamakan at hirap na aming dinanas sa aming trabaho bilang mga nag-oorganisa." And this is followed by paragraph 10 where she said, "Nakusang loob kaming sumuko sa mga otoridad at hindi kami dinukot o hinuli ng kahit sino man at alam po ng aking mga magulang kung nasaan po ako ngayon." And finally, she said here in the last paragraph na sa ngayon kami ay mananatili muna sa kustodiya ng 70th Infantry Battalion ng Philippine Army sa DRT Bulacan para sa aming seguridad. At habang pinoproseso ang mga dokumento namin bilang mga former rebels alinsunod sa balikloob program ng pamahalaan. Meanwhile, under the sinumpaang salaysay of Jonila Castro, she said here, under paragraph 19, September 12, 2023 ng umaga, hinatid kami ni Ate Bea. Itong si Ate Bea, ito yung person na kinontak nila na tutulong daw sa kanila to connect with the authorities. So she said here, hinatid kami ni Ate Bea sa pagkikitaan namin ng otoridad. Hindi na kami pinuntahan ng otoridad sa bahay ni Ate Bea dahil sa hiling niya na wag na doon mangyari ang pagkikita namin bilang pagprotekta sa kanyang seguridad. Followed by paragraph 20 where Jonila said, na noong kami ay sumuko sa mga otoridad ay nagpakilala silang mga miyembro ng 70th Infantry Battalion ng Philippine Army at kami po ay dinala sa kanilang headquarters sa Pulong Sampaloc, Doña Remedios, Trinidad, Bulacan. So it is very clear from their respective sinumpaang salaysay na wala po talagang nangyaring pandudukot and malaya at kusang loob silang sumuko. Now, under the third element of the crime of perjury, the accused should make a willful and deliberate assertion of a falsehood. And the Supreme Court said that deliberately means meditated as distinguished from inadvertence. And clearly, no, yung sa nakita po natin sa September 19 press conference, nung bigla silang bumaligtad, it is tainted with malice to humiliate the government, the NTF, LCAC, and all of the partner agencies that are present there. And finally, the sworn statement. For the last element, the sworn statement containing the falsity is required by law or for a legal purpose. And we understand this na yung sinumpaang salaysay, they executed it as part of the overall proceedings dun nga sa kanilang pagbabalik loob and for their availment of the benefits under the ECLIP program. And I also want to zero in on the statement of Yusek Torres earlier that this is a betrayal of the legal system. Why is it so? Because it is a declared policy under the 1987 Constitution that the maintenance of peace and order, the protection of life, liberty, and property, and the promotion of the general welfare are essential for the enjoyment by all the people of the blessings of democracy. Yung policy po natin sa ECLIP and yung sa welcoming the rebels back into the folds of the law is in line with this declared policy of the Constitution. Accepting rebels back into the folds of the law through amnesty and providing them access to the government's existing socio-economic services, yung sa ECLIP po natin, these are essential to attaining peace and reconciliation in the country and in line with the trust of the NTF-LCAC to promote lasting peace and development. I want to emphasize again yung sinabi ko po kaninang tatlong bagay, that this is a demolition tactics and this is an undermining of the efforts of the Task Force Balik Loob and the integrity of the ECLIP with the ultimate goal to impair the trust of the public. So in a way, this is really a mockery of the declared state policy and principle as enshrined in the 1987 Constitution. So far, yun po muna yung mga sasabihin ko. Thank you po.
All right, thank you very much, Attorney James Clifford Santos, the spokesperson of the Legal Cooperation Cluster of the NTF-LCAC. Now, ladies and gentlemen, mga kapatid po natin sa media, we will proceed to the open forum. Kindly signify your intention to ask questions so we may recognize you. Okay, we have one question with his hands raised from Rafael Bosano. Go ahead, Rafael. You're from ABS, no?
Hi, sir. Yes po. Good
All right,
afternoon.
thank you. Go ahead.
Po, from ABS-CBN po. Ang tanong ko lang po, I just want to clarify kasi po, ang sinabi there was an interview with the National Union of People's Lawyers na sinasabi nila that a coerced affiant cannot commit perjury. Ang ninonote po nila ay yung mga lawyers din daw po ng PAO ay dumating nagawa na yung affidavit, and that was clear naman po no, based on Attorney Persida Acosta's interview. Ang sinasabi rin po ng NUPL, hindi rin po represented yung mga bata during the interrogation or investigation. So who was present during the interrogation and handwriting of the affidavit? And also, how can the NTF-LCAC prove talaga that they weren't coerced when there was no presence of a lawyer during the execution of the affidavit? Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Rafael. Yusek Jun, you may reiterate siguro in presence ng parents.
Yeah, initially dun sa handwritten version, the parents of Jed Tamano, they were there, no? Kasi 2 days silang nandoon, September 12, and then nung September 13 nung nandoon na yung PAO lawyer, I believe as stated by Attorney Acosta, inisa-isa yung mga contents nung computer printed affidavits and then pinirmahan ulit yon. So if Rafael is asking about the the handwritten affidavit, no, asking who were around at that time. So at that time, kagaya na nabanggit ko kanina, a certain Renante Bautista, yung pumirma dun sa baba. I believe he is the mayor of Angat in Bulacan. So yon, that is as far as I know, no, regarding the handwritten affidavit.
All
So
right.
maybe
Thank
Attorney Cliff could
Yes.
supply some legal
yes.
comments on the question of Rafael.
Thank you, Yusek. I have here a copy of the Public Attorney's Office press statement, and this statement enjoys the presumption of regularity because it was issued by the PAO in the regular performance of their duty. And I want to quote here a particular paragraph. No, despite the handwritten statement, Attorney Bagay requested for a closed-door conference with Jonila and Jed without the presence and beyond the hearing distance of the members of the 70th Infantry Battalion. Before the conduct of the interview, Attorney Bagay sought permission from Jonila and Jed that he will video record their conversation, to which they acceded. Attorney Bagay then verified the accuracy of the handwritten statement and ensured that Jonila and Jed executed the same freely and voluntarily. Both Jonila and Jed affirmed their statement. Thereafter, Attorney Bagay prepared their sworn statement and administered the oath. A video was taken while their oath was being administered, and also present during the administration of the oaths are the parents of Jed Tamano. So we see here, no, na malabo talaga yung sinasabi ng NUPL lawyers that there was coercion, intimidation, or even duress when Jonila and Jed executed yung sa kanilang affidavits. And also, I want to point out na between sa claims ng NUPL lawyers and the claims of our PAO lawyers, our government lawyers, the statements made by the government lawyers, no, enjoy the presumption of regularity.
And sige po, on another question, just to follow up, or a different question po. Looking at Jed and Jonila, they went through the same experience, whatever it is, the public has yet to fully know. Pero looking at both of them, they seem to have very contrasting demeanors. Si Jed po medyo tahimik, she was timid, which is opposite of Jonila na medyo courageous and outspoken. So parang it doesn't add up kasi parehas lang sila ng karanasan. So why do you think this is so, sir?
Oh well, Rafael, kagaya dun sa interview kanina, si Jonila, nagbuo na siya, 4 na taon na siya sa iba't ibang posisyon sa CPP, NPA, NDF. Nandun siya sa white area, nag-operate siya sa red area, then back to white area. Etong si Jed, siya yung nasa stage pa lang na nagsisimula pa lamang siya sa kanilang sa stage. It's tapos na yung recruitment, ginagamit na siya to organize and arouse and mobilize certain sectors of our society. So hindi natin inaasahan na yung behavior ni Jed would be as aggressive and as passionate, no, as Jonila, dahil malayo yung kanilang mga karanasan. In fact, it was also shared to us by Jonila herself na may mga enkwentro na siyang, one particular encounter, yung inadmit niya nakasama siya, meaning armed encounter to, barilan with our government forces. So the experiences, the teachings, and the different positions that they handled along the way probably is the reason for the difference in their behavior. Rafael.
Thank you, sir.
All right. Thank you, Rafael. Go ahead, Angel.
All right, maraming salamat po. Now we call on Sir Barnaby Law from Al Jazeera. Sir, you have the floor.
Yeah, good afternoon. I'd just like to reconcile a couple of points because I was able to speak with Jonila's mother, actually both her mother and father yesterday. And you mentioned that they were invited to the military camp to witness the statements of Jonila and Jed, as Jed's parents were there. But they told me that they were not invited. They did not receive any call or text message.
Oh,
So
well, sorry. Go
yeah.
ahead, Barnaby.
No, go ahead. There's just a certain disconnect there.
Well, the report to me is very clear, no, that they were invited just like the parents of Jed, though, who came over to meet their child. My understanding was that ang naging the schedule was set to after the press conference instead of them meeting Jonila prior to the press conference. But I am quite certain that the report was very clear, no, clearly relayed to me that they were able to get in touch with the parents of Junila prior to the press conference.
So when you say that they were able to get in touch, they were able to speak with them on the phone.
With the father, yeah, not with the mother, but with the father. That's the report that I got, Barnaby.
Okay, just one more question. So my understanding is how you knew that they were part of the communist armed movement is because they presented themselves voluntarily to you. They surrendered themselves voluntarily. So my understanding, and correct me if I'm wrong, is they weren't being surveilled. They weren't being targeted for arrest. And maybe you didn't even know that they were members of the alleged members of the communist armed movement. But Junila's mother also told me that before their, quote unquote disappearance, there were soldiers who were visiting their home. So, which is why she's been saying that she suspects that they were abducted, and that she believes the story of Junila and Jed as narrated the other day.
Yeah. Barnaby, there are two different cases here. In the case of Jed Tamano, even before they were allegedly reported to be allegedly missing, the parents already got in touch with us, asking us to, help out in finding their child, because she was communicating with them through phone from time to time, but she was not physically present for quite some time already in their house. So there are some efforts already. There are some attempts trying to ask around in their in her school, in the community, in the effort of trying to find ways to know where Jed was at that time. But in the case of Jonila, there were some rebel returnees already who may attest to the fact that she's one of them as an armed rebel.
Okay,
A member of the NPA, yeah.
Okay, so in short, you already knew of them.
Before the alleged missing, or before the abduction.
Yes.
Yeah, so we have prior information about them already.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Barnaby. I don't see any raised hands, so I'll proceed with a question from Sir Jing Villamente of Daily Tribune. I guess this is addressed to Attorney James Clifford. Sir, ano daw po yung mga remedies ni Jed?
Angel, sorry to butt in.
Yes, po.
We have Brian Brian from TV5 and Paula Antolin.
Yes, but I believe, sige po, they lowered their hands, but sige po, we'll check on, yes, opo. Unless they'll proceed po.
Hi po, magandang hapon. Can you hear me?
Ayan. Okay. I apologize, Brian.
Sorry po. Sorry
I
ma'am,
didn't see your
nag-disconnect
hand
lang din po.
Go ahead,
Opo,
go ahead. So Brian, go ahead.
Thank you. Magandang hapon po. Ang ako ang nakausap ko naman po kahapon ay si Attorney Dino De Leon, legal counsel ni na Jed at ni Jonila. And ang kanyang ginigiit naman ay itong dalawang ito ay walang chosen legal counsel. The keyword is chosen. Can you please clarify this for us? So, kasi ang sabi ni Attorney De Leon is it cannot be admissible, the sworn statements cannot be admissible as evidence. If any, they can be used parao as material for or to prove coercion and abuse on the part of the authorities. Can you please make sense of that?
Let me answer the question. No? Well, we have a statement from the parents na they asked them kung if they want to avail the services of a private counsel, but yun nga they declined the offer, and they affirmed yung kanilang choice to to execute the sinumpaang salaysay under the assistance and guidance of a PAW lawyer.
All right. So does that mean, sir, because you mentioned can, right? If I'm not, kung tama ba narinig ko, you used the word can when you said yung about the filing of perjury charges, but is it going to be to be done? Will it push through?
If there is a directive from the higher ups, and if the AFP or the agree of the government officials will really push through with the filing of the cases, then we will be ready to assist them in the processes.
Thank you.
Brian, so we're good. Thank you so much. All right. Next question po. Although I would like to recognize before we proceed, Justice Angie Miranda of the Office of Solicitor General also is joining us this afternoon. So next would be Miss Paula Antolin of Filipino Mirror. Go ahead, ma'am. Ma'am Paula, are you there? If wala po, then maybe balikan na lang po natin. We can proceed to Sir Glenn Huego po.
Hi, magandang hapon.
Magandang hapon po. Go ahead.
Yes, ma'am, sir, tanong ko lang, nakarating na po ito kay Pangulong Marcos or may pag-uusap na po ba between NTF-ELCAC and kay Pangulong Marcos? And if so, ano po yung naging reaction niya?
May I answer that, Attorney James?
Yes, Yusek.
Please.
Yes, Yusek.
Directly, I wasn't informed really. I'm not so sure if it has reached the president, but I'm quite confident because of the the issue is already brought to the national level. I would probably assume that the president knows about this already, but bilang sagot dun sa tanong mo kung na-discuss na namin to personally, not yet, no? But with the vice chairman, the national security advisor, we were talking about this already.
Yusek, one more follow-up lang. Isa sa tinakbuhan nila ang Commission on Human Rights, no? Taga-gobyerno rin, sir. Do you have a message, sir, sa Commission on Human Rights, sir? Or sa sino man po na tinakbuhan po nitong nung dalawang activist?
Ayun, pareho rin sana yung intention ng security sector natin to secure and protect the children, no matter what the circumstances are, ay may ipagpatuloy din ng Commission on Human Rights.
Salamat, Yusek. Thank you.
Salamat po.
Angel?
Nawala.
Nawala yata si Angel. All right, to continue, let's recognize, sino lang makita ko, no? Si David Santos, David, and then to be followed by Marlene.
Opo. Sir, quick, yan lang. Basic question lang, pasensya. Kasi we've been using the word hoodwinked, blindsided, we were betrayed. Sir, ang tanong ko lang po is, given the government's vast resources, with all the funds and resources and the capabilities that we have. Sir, hindi ho ba embarrassing yun for us, una-una to admit na naloko tayo ng dalawang, well, supposedly, kung babasihan natin yung narrative niyo po, no, na naloko tayo, sir. In short, hindi ba natin anticipate that they can do this? Tapos, yun sir, yung bang parang medyo for others, they would say na parang hindi naman kapanipaniwala na kumbaga the government was taken for a ride itong sa in this particular case po. Thank you.
May I answer that initially, Attorney James?
Sure, yes, sir.
Yeah, David, we invested on trust, no? Yung mga circumstances before their surrender, no? And even now, when they surrendered, tapos kaya kausap siya ng mga staff natin as reported to us, we were we were just so happy that another two kabataans have decided to go back to the folds of the law. So we trusted their actions, their words, and I think in general that is how a government should be, no? And us, especially at the NTF-ELCAC, we would like to take your word for it, no? Kung ano yung dinadala mo sa amin. Sabi mo kanina, despite our vast resources, bakit hindi natin na-check kaagad yung possibility na yun? There is always that possibility. Naiisip pa rin natin yan. But we really weighed heavier, no? Dun sa pinapakita nilang galaw nila, nakangiti na sila, pinag-uusapan na kung paano yung way forward nila. I mean, the mayor was there, DSWD, PAO, us, no, everybody was really supportive of all these efforts, no, that we would like to pour in for their eventual rehabilitation and reintegration back to the mainstream society. We were ready to enroll them dun sa Enhanced Comprehensive Local Integration Program, like what we used to do sa mga FRs natin. So, nandun tayo sa point na yon and we trusted their word. That's why it's really unfortunate. Ito po yung naging reaction natin. All of us, even the parents, no? Tingnan mo yung statement ni Mr. Manalastas. He even didn't expect anak niya na yon. He thought that everything will be okay already in the coming days. So that's how it is. That's how it is. We really felt betrayed, no, despite the huge amount of trust that we gave to these two young ladies.
Sir, quick follow-up. So how this specific incident will affect future engagements with potential surrenderies o yung mga magbabalik loob? Kasi syempre kung may president na in this particular case, so paano sir in future cases po?
Yeah, that's the beauty of the program, David. Kasi ang ating approach ngayon, yung local peace engagement, yung pong mga communities themselves, local chief executives, and even the families, they reach out dun sa ating mga armed rebels pa rin, ano? They are the ones talking to them. So mas mataas yung yung trust and confidence diyan sa mga negotiations. So these are the different cases out there, no? And it will continue. It will continue. This is just one of those hiccups nga na nangyayari sa programa natin, which is really unfortunate. But the program will still proceed. We will still process anybody at tayo nananawagan sa mga nakikinig sa atin ngayon na hindi po magbabago yung pagtrato natin sa mga natin na gustong manumbalik sa mainstream society, no? The program will be as strong and as effective as it has been for the past several years.
Also, I just want to add very briefly, the mere fact that the government trusted these two ladies, no, notwithstanding the risk of betrayal and notwithstanding the vast resources that the state has, no, as you mentioned, David, just really shows that the NTF-ELCAC and the government are really bent on welcoming. It's really about peace. It's really in line with the state policy under the Constitution and about welcoming our former rebels into the folds of the law.
Thank you po. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. David Santos. Salamat. And of course, thank you, Yusek June Torres and Attorney James. Now, I'd like to recognize Marilyn Pajernos.
Hi, sirs. Good afternoon po. Morning po from Bombo Radio Philippines. Sir, matanong ko lang po, no? Kagaya po na nabanggit po ninyo kanina na the program will still proceed and hindi po magbabago yung pagtrato po ninyo doon sa mga nagbabalik loob po ng mga miyembro ng mga armed groups. How about po doon sa process natin sa pag-handle po ng mga surrenderies? Particular na po doon sa pagharap sa kanila sa media, sa publiko. Magkakaroon po ba tayo ng konting adjustments, sir, given the latest situation po or recent incident po nitong pagbaliktad nitong dalawang activist po, sir?
Well, definitely no, magkakaroon ng effect 'yan sa ating pagpoproseso sa kanila, especially in making decisions sa presentation sa public, no? Although the trust would still be there, but we just have to learn, of course, from this experience, no? That there is still that possibility na despite the goodwill that you are offering to our fellow men, particularly yung mga members ng mga armed groups pa out there. So despite the goodwill that we are showing to them, minsan namamanipula pa rin nila, no? They are so good at this kind of propaganda. So it is a lessons learned for all of us, no, in the government and the Filipino people to tread more cautiously, no, in undertaking this kind of activities.
When you say po magkakaroon ng konting pagbabago, ano po yung tinutukoy po ninyong pwedeng maging pagbabago po doon sa pagkasa publiko po nitong mga ating surrenderies, sir?
Well, of course, siguro yung yung pagche-check sa kanilang maigi, mga ganyan. Sometimes sabi nga natin lasting peace is the price of eternal vigilance, hindi ba? Even if sabi natin wala nang mga kalaban, wala nang mga kriminal, no? But that would just continue on when we are eternally vigilant, no, about the way we do things. So just the same, we will just increase our vigilance, be more discriminating, no? Consider everything, no? Dig deeper into the personalities of those who are going back to the folds of the law. So, ganon. But just the same kasi it has to be a balance between building trust and confidence, And on one hand, and on the other hand naman, yung to be very cautious, that things like this would not happen again. So we need to balance that. We cannot go on and on not trusting those who would wish to go back to the folds of the law. It's more of an art, Marlene, but we certainly would learn from this experience.
Thank you po.
Thank you.
Thank you, Marlene. And at this point, we'd like to recognize June. Please identify yourself.
Ano ba yan?
June sa iPhone lang kasi nakalagay.
Parang akin yata yan. Baka ba't may reaction na ganyan? May napindot yata ako.
Baka sa'yo yan.
I'll
Baka
bring
sa'yo
it
yan,
down
boss.
siguro. Paano ba to? Sorry.
Ibang June.
Well, I believe it's mine.
No. It's June Veneracion. I'm sorry.
Oh my.
Pare, ikaw pala yan. June
I'm so
Veneracion from GMA.
May
You're
culpa.
recognized. Go ahead.
June, no?
I'm sorry.
Sorry, I wasn't able to call you back yesterday. I was still filled with a lot of things. Sorry.
No, it's okay. I know you have full plate. Yusek Torres, sir, magandang hapon po. Can you walk us through the process? Paano umabot sa punto na, sige, let's present them to the media. And looking back, meron bang konti sandali, meron bang regrets na kung sana hindi natin pinresenta? Mali yata yung move na yun. Yusek June?
Well, kagaya ng sinabi ko kanina, there is something that we can learn from this experience, no? The presentation to the media is just to tell the purpose, no? The purpose of presenting them to the media is to let the public know that these two kids, these two young ladies are well taken care of and they are safe. That's all. That's all that we wanted the public to know about, no? But unfortunately, nangyari nga yung hindi magandang nangyari. We just have to, face it squarely and deal with it and learn from it.
So, in a way, may admission na wrong move yun, Sector?
I won't say that it is a wrong move, no. just like what I've said a while ago, we need to balance kasi yung building trust and confidence para sa mga nag-iisip na magbalik loob sa atin on one hand, and on the other hand to be more cautious, no, in dealing with them. So every FR probably has a different case. We wouldn't want to be so strict, no, very strict in dealing with them, na parang it would be very hard for them, difficult for them to go back to the mainstream society. But certainly we will review how we do things, how we conduct things, and maybe we can have a better chance of preventing these things from happening again.
So moving forward, mas magiging careful na kayo in presenting returnees in the
Well,
future.
again, last thing,
and vetting, mas magiging careful kayo sa vetting.
Again, June, binanggit ko na kanina, if we want lasting and continuous peace to reign, we have to be eternally vigilant.
Thank you po. Thank you, sir.
Salamat po.
All right, thank you. Paring June Veneracion, ikaw pala yun.
Sorry.
And
My bad.
Okay. And thank you, Yusek June Torres. And now I can still see 3 raised hands from returning sila. Si Rafael muna, and then si Paula, and then si Brian again. Go ahead, Rafael.
Hi, sir. Opo. Just to clarify, why did it take several days before authorities presented them to the public? Because based on the series of events, they were already with the 70th IB, September 12. So couldn't have they been presented prior to September 19? Thank you po.
Would you like to answer that, attorney?
I will defer to your answer, Yusek.
Yeah, there are several factors actually. Who asked the question? Si Rafael? Was it Rafael ba?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Si Raf.
Oo. Siyempre, tinitingnan din natin yung exposure ng mga bata, no? Wini-weigh din natin because they gusto nila magtrabaho, gusto nila magpatuloy ng pag-aaral. They wouldn't want their personality, the face or their statements to be exposed. Actually, yung 1 week, Rafael, in my experience, ang bilis na nga po nun na present natin sila sa publiko. Because there are a lot of factors. You have to consult with their parents also. Those things, we need to get their opinion. Lalong-lalo na, they are of age already. So we did all that until we came up with a, and convince them also to just come out. Because ang daming lumalabas na mga na propaganda na abduct, nagkakaroon na ng donation. 'Di ba? Meron pa mga donate ang CTG to find them, when in fact nakikipag-usap na po kami specifically dun sa magulang ni Jed kung paano mahanap yung mga bata dati, no? That's why we were very happy nga nung biglang nag-surface sila, no? Parang it's a sort of a miracle, biglang nandiyan na. So we were so very happy that they were in front of us, no, of the sa field units natin. So ayan, that's all I can say regarding your question, Rafael.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you, Raf. Again, let's call back Paula.
Hello, sir. Hello po. Ayun. Good afternoon po. Sa paraang pagre-recruit naman po sa mga kabataan, ng mga rebelde, what does the NTF-ELCAC doing or the DepEd na mabantayan yung mga universities o mapangalagaan yung mga kaligtasan ng mga kabataan sa panlilinlang ng mga makakaliwang grupo? Meron po bang agreement din ang DepEd or NTF-ELCAC when it comes to monitoring dun sa recruitment ng mga students, especially dun sa mga universities, which is talagang sila yung mga nagagamit sa ngayon at nasasayang katulad ng dalawang kabataan.
I think Attorney Cliff, sa akin yan.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, thank you for that question, Paula. We agree dun sa binanggit mo kanina ang talagang focus ng recruitment ng CTG or CPP, NPA, NDF ay yung hanay ng ating mga kabataan at mag-aaral because they provide the continuity ng kanilang armed revolution eh. Just imagine one recruit, no, college level or college graduate lang, pag nakuha nila yan at naging hardcore, makakasama nila yan, magagamit nila yan for the next 3-4 decades as cadre. So talagang focus nila yan. And I'd like to report to you that we've been collaborating with the Department of Education. We have met with all their regional directors from Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao already regarding this to draft, to agree on programs on how to prevent the recruitment of CPP, NPA, NDF in their schools. Then after namin makausap yung mga RDs in one forum, lahat ng mga school superintendent ng NCR kinausap din po natin, and then recently yung mga Quezon City mga principals, yun din yung ating kinausap. So what I'm trying to say here is we have a close collaboration with the Department of Education to prevent this recruitment of the CTGs in all schools nationwide. Napaka-importante po na one of the mandate natin sa gobyerno, particularly kaming mga miyembro ng NTF-ELCAC, ay to serve and protect the Filipino people, particularly the youth, no? And one way of protecting our youth is telling them the truth about certain organizations, the truth about certain personalities, so that they would be guided with their decisions, so that they would have an informed choice, yung choices po na hindi magre-resulta na masasaktan nila yung kanilang sarili, masasaktan nila yung kanilang kaibigan, pamilya, community. So yun po, that is what we are collaborating on, and kasama na rin sa collaboration namin ng DepEd yung pong mga sa programa nila na National Culture of Peace, no? So we are contributing to that also.
Sir, additional na lang po. So malinaw po na merong recruitment when it comes dun sa mga universities at natatamaan talaga yung mga kabataan. So ibig sabihin talagang kailangan ng DepEd tumulong when it comes sa pagbabantay dun sa mga universities together with NTF-ELCAC pagdating sa mga ganyan.
Actually, hindi lang po DepEd when we were talking to them, malaki po yung role ng ating mga parents, no? Even outside of the school, yung communities, no? It is really a whole of nation participation if we really would like to end yung communist insurgency in our country. Kami po sa NTF-ELCAC, it's so sad na yung ibang tao ini-equate sa NTF-ELCAC red tagging. I would like you to know that NTF-ELCAC is a collaborative mechanism. Ang kanyang trabaho po is to harmonize, synchronize, synthesize lahat ng efforts ng ating mga departments, bureaus, agencies, and other partner civilians para po ma-solve yung mga root causes ng insurgency. Meaning, i-harmonize natin yung mga peace and development programs nang sa ganon magkaroon ng patuloy na pagtulong lalong-lalo na dun sa mga geographically isolated and disadvantaged areas natin para inclusive po yung paghahatid natin ng kapayapaan at kaunlaran sa ating mga kababayan.
Thank you po.
Maraming salamat,
All right,
Paula.
thank you. Thank you, Paula, and Yusek June again. And we're down to the last two questions. So we will end with a question from Jairo Bolledo. But before him, let's call back again Brian Basa from TV5.
All right. Thank you for having me again. May habol lang po ako because yesterday, when I spoke to Director MJ Chico, is also here. Hi, sir. Meron daw kasing background check na ginawa ang militar kina Castro at Tamano. Can you tell us more about this? What have we found out? What has the military found out?
Well, Brian, to tell you, frankly, I haven't received the feedback, the report yet on their background. But yung mga binanggit po kanina, yun yung alam natin sa kanila, no? Na dating kumilos o kumikilos 4 years nang kumilos yung isa, si Junila, at si Jed naman ay kakagraduate lang, hinahanap ng kanilang mga magulang. So other than those two things, I haven't formally received any report yet, but I would I can gladly share it with you once I get the information, Brian.
Sorry. Sir, on the wording, you said 4 years na kumikilos. What do you mean by this?
Actually, nasa briefing ko kanina, Brian, it was admitted by Junila Castro na 4 years na siya sa CPP, NPA, NDF. Naging organizer siya ng kabataan, naging hukbo siya, in her own words na hukbo, meaning nag-armado ka, naging NPA ka. Tapos ngayon naging organisador siya ng mangingisda. I think that was in her that's in her affidavit. So for 4 years, she's been in these different positions, performing different support to the movement.
All right, sir. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Brian. And thank you once again, Yusek June. And now we're down to the last, but not the least, to ask a question. After him, we're going to proceed to the the final remarks of our guest. So Jairo Boliedo, you're recognized.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Sir Joel. Good afternoon po, Yusek. Jairo Boliedo po from Rappler. Just one question lang po, Yusek. Magpupursu pa po ba ang NTF-ELCAC and the AFP with the perjury complaints against the two, given that lagi po nating sinasabi na we're concerned about the two's well-being po? Thank you, sir.
Well, I guess that would be best answered by my co-panelist here, Attorney Cliff. Kindly address the question of Jairo, please. Thank you.
Jairo, it's a possible remedy, and it's up to the officials who were aggrieved by the recantment of the statements made by Junila and Jed if they want to really pursue the case. Kami naman sa LCC, the OSG, will be ready to assist if they want to file a case. But ultimately, the decision to file a case will really rest on those officials who were aggrieved by their acts.
Okay. Jairo, do you have a follow-up?
No, okay na po, sir. Thank you so much po.
All right. Thank you very much, Jairo Boliedo. And now, we're going to ask, before we end, we're going to ask our resource speakers for their final remarks. Let's start off with Attorney James Clifford Santos of the LCC cluster.
Well, I concur and adopt all of the statements made by Yusek June Torres, especially on his remarks that the government, the NTF-ELCAC, is really about bringing peace. The NTF-ELCAC is not about merely the tagging of individuals who are linked with the CPP, NPA, NDF, but it's a whole of a nation undertaking that is guided by the relevant principles and policies enshrined in the 1987 Constitution. And we just want to say that we are for peace. We are for the welcoming of our friends, former friends returning, as they say, yung sa FRs. It does not only mean of former rebels, but also friends returning, because we are concerned, in their welfare, in their development and integration as citizens of the Philippines who ought to enjoy the blessings of democracy.
All right. Thank you, Attorney James Clifford Santos. And now, for his final message, Undersecretary June Torres of the NTF-ELCAC. Secretary.
Muli, maraming salamat, Joel, moderator, Angel. At maraming salamat din sa mga kaibigan natin sa media na nag-attend nitong press conference natin ngayon. Well, bilang panghuli siguro, gusto ko lang sabihin na sa ating lahat na talagang abot kamay na natin yung ating minimiting kapayapaan, kaligtasan at kaunlaran. So despite from time to time may mga ganitong nangyayari, I would like to tell you that we remain committed, yung inyong National Secretariat of the NTF-ELCAC, we remain committed to continue to tread the path of unity, peace, and development at all costs. And that Ms. Tamano and Ms. Castro's safety and well-being are of primordial importance to us. So sana po ang aming mandato, makakaasa kayo, we will continue on harmonizing, synchronizing all the government efforts, no, to address the root causes of insurgency. Kasama na po diyan ang poverty, mal-education, kakulangan sa mga problema natin sa kalusugan, no, infrastructure. So all of these things we will do to eliminate the issues that are being exploited by the CPP, NPA, NDF. And with the help of each one of us who are present here, our friends, no, and of course our partners in the government and in the civilian sector, lahat pong ito ay kakayanin natin at mapagtutulungan po natin. And I could already see na it is very soon that we would be able to defeat finally this insurgency. So tulong-tulong lang po tayo para sa isang matatag, maginhawa at panatag na pamumuhay para sa lahat ng Pilipino. Muli, maraming salamat po.
Alright, maraming po salamat, Undersecretary June Torres, the Executive Director of NTF-ELCAC, and of course, one of our legal eagles, Attorney James Clifford Santos of the
Thank you.
Legal Cooperation Cluster. And now we have finally reached the conclusion of this special episode of TAG. Abangan po natin ang susunod na kabanata. So join us again next week for another episode of TAG Reloaded, Debunking Lies by Telling the Truth. Here's thanking you everyone for participating and to our people for listening. I hope you are all enlightened by these discussions. Maraming po salamat. Good afternoon.
Maraming salamat po. Thank you.
Thank you, boss.
Thank you.
Thank you, Angel.
Thank you po. Pasensya na po. Attorney James, ED, thank you. Sige po. Sa lahat ng
Milo,
friends
thank
natin
you.
sa media.
Attorney MJ Chico, thank you.
Maraming salamat, Sir Joel.
And Idol, Sources.
Attorney Kim Braga yun, dapat. Future, at least may future ba?
And of course, to MJ, maraming salamat.
Sir,
Yes.
Lodi. Diyan pala yung Lodi namin eh. Ayaw magpakita ng picture ng video para makita agad ang lalaki.
Milo, thank you. IDG team, salamat.
Yan eh, talaga na eh.
Yun, Idol na
Sir,
idol.
thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. Sige, Bok, salamat. Please ready the transcript and the all right, thank you.